First contact. Protocol Captain Zara Hendricks gripped the armrests of her command chair as the UES Resilience dropped out of hyperspace near the Kepler 442 system. The starfield before them revealed something unprecedented, a massive, crystalline structure orbiting the system's second planet, pulsing with bioluminescent patterns that hurt to look at directly. "Sensor readings, Lieutenant Voss," Zara called to her tactical officer. "Ma'am, I'm detecting multiple organic signatures within that structure. It's alive, Captain, and it's easily 10 kilometers in diameter." Marcus Voss's voice carried a tremor of awe and concern. Communications Officer Petra Nakamura suddenly straightened at her station. "Captain, we're being hailed, but the signal, it's not like anything in our databases. It's layered, harmonized, almost musical. Put it through, filtered for human audio range. The bridge filled with a sound like whale song, mixed with the hum of quantum processors. Then, impossibly, words formed in perfect English. Small metal swimmers. You carry the scent of young ones. Are you pack hunters or nest builders?" Chief Science Officer Dr. Tobias Wren nearly dropped his scanner. "Captain, that question, it's remarkably specific. Based on our linguistic analysis of first contact protocols, I believe we're dealing with a species that prioritizes offspring protection above all else." Zara considered carefully. Every word could determine humanity's fate. "This is Captain Zara Hendricks of the United Earth Ship Resilience. We are explorers and protectors. We build nests, colonies, to nurture our young across the stars." Silence stretched for 30 seconds before the response came. "Interesting. You speak of protection, yet you approach with weapons charged. The mothers wish to understand your intentions, small swimmers." "All weapon systems power down immediately," Zara ordered. "Full passive scan mode only." The crystalline structure began to pulse more rapidly, and Voss reported multiple contacts emerging from its depths. "Captain, I count at least 50 vessels. They're organic, but heavily armored. Each one is roughly the size of a destroyer." Dr. Wren's eyes widened as he processed the data. "Captain, if my calculations are correct, each of those ships appears to be designed around a central cavity, nursery chambers. We're not just looking at a fleet, we're looking at an entire civilization of motherships." The alien voice returned, carrying what sounded like cautious curiosity. "You powered down your weapons without being forced. This is unexpected. Most species that approach the maternal collective come seeking to steal or destroy. You claim to build nests. Prove this to the mothers." Zara knew this moment would define humanity's relationship with potentially the most powerful force they'd ever encountered. The mothers had ships, had obviously survived long enough to spread across systems and prioritize the protection of their young above all else. If humanity could prove they shared these values, they might find not just allies, but the most devoted defenders in the galaxy. "Prepare to transmit our colony records," she ordered. "Show them New Geneva, the Mars. Nurseries, the orbital habitats designed specifically for child development. Show them that we don't just build nests, we build futures." The test of worth 3 days had passed since first contact, and the maternal collective had agreed to a meeting aboard their flagship, a bioengineered cathedral called the Nurturing Deep. Captain Hendricks found herself walking through corridors that pulsed with life, accompanied by her diplomatic team and Dr. Wren. Their guide was a being that defied easy description, roughly humanoid, but covered in what appeared to be living armor that shifted colors based on her emotional state. She introduced herself as Matriarch Valina, though the translation felt inadequate for the harmonics in her actual name. "Your species intrigues us, Captain Hendricks," Valina said as they walked. "We have observed your colony records with great interest, but records can be fabricated. The mothers require proof of commitment to the young. They entered a vast chamber where dozens of maternal beings floated in bioluminescent pods, their attention focused on holographic displays showing human settlements. Dr. Wren whispered, "Captain, I'm reading massive neural activity. They're not just watching, they're analyzing every detail of our child-rearing practices." Matriarch Valina gestured to the displays. "We see your nurseries, your educational facilities, your protective protocols. But we also see your wars, your violence, your willingness to sacrifice the young for abstract concepts. How do you reconcile this contradiction?" Before Zara could answer, alarms began blaring throughout the chamber. The organic walls shifted, from calm blues to urgent reds. Valina's armor blazed with warning patterns as she received rapid communications through bio-neural links. "A harvester pack has entered the system," Valina announced, her voice carrying deadly calm. "They seek our nurseries. This is your test, humans. Will you flee to preserve your own lives, or will you stand with the mothers to protect the young?" Through the chamber's transparent bio-walls, Zara could see the harvester fleet, sleek, predatory vessels that moved like sharks through space. Intelligence reports from other systems had described them as slavers who specialized in capturing children for their horrific experiments. "How many?" Zara asked. 17 Hunter-class vessels. They outgun your single ship considerably." Zara activated her comm unit. "Resilience, this is the captain. All hands to battle stations. We're about to engage hostiles alongside our new allies." Dr. Wren looked concerned. "Captain, our weapon systems are still powered down from the trust exercise. Then we power them up and show the mothers what humans do when children are threatened." She looked directly at Matriarch Valina. "We don't abandon our principles when things get dangerous. We fight harder for them." Valina's armor shifted to what Zara was beginning to recognize as approval. "The collective has protected the young. For 40,000 of your years, we have faced the harvesters before, but never have we fought alongside a species that chose to stand with us rather than flee." "Then today's a first for both of us," Zara replied. "What do you need from us?" "Your ship's quantum resonance drives produce a frequency that disrupts harvester neural networks. If you can target their command ship while we engage their fleet, we might save thousands of young ones, both yours and ours." Zara smiled grimly. "Dr. Wren, I hope you've been studying their bioship integration systems. We're about to attempt the galaxy's first human maternal tactical coordination." The test had begun, and failure meant not just humanity's rejection, but the death of innocence across the system. Battle for the nurseries. The space around Kepler 442b erupted into chaos as 17 harvester ships engaged the combined human maternal fleet. Captain Hendricks watched from the Resilience's bridge as bioships pulsed with deadly energy, their living hulls adapting in real time to incoming fire. "Target their command vessel," Zara ordered her weapons officer, Lieutenant Commander Jake Morrison. "Full quantum resonance bombardment, just like Matriarch Valina requested." "Aye, Captain. Quantum drives charging to combat frequency." Dr. Wren monitored the tactical display with growing amazement. "Captain, the maternal ships are coordinating like a single organism. Each vessel is adapting its defenses based on data shared instantaneously through their bio-neural network. The Harvester command ship, a twisted amalgamation of metal and captured organic tissue, turned its attention to the Resilience. Energy beams that could melt through conventional armor struck their shields. "Shields down to 60%, reported Chief Engineer Rosa Delgado from the engine room. "But the quantum resonance is working. I'm detecting massive neural disruption aboard the Harvester command ship." Through the comm system, Matriarch Valina's voice carried strain but determination. "Human vessel, your quantum frequency is more effective than we calculated. The Harvester's stolen biocomponents are rejecting their synthetic control systems." On the main screen, Zara watched as the Harvester fleet began to lose coordination. Ships that had moved in perfect predatory formation now struggled with conflicting command signals. But the harvesters were adapting, switching to backup systems and redundant controls. "Captain," Voss called out urgently, "3 harvester vessels are breaking off from the main engagement. They're heading for the planetary surface, straight for the nursery colonies." Zara's blood ran cold. Intelligence reports described harvester ground operations. They would take every child they could find, leaving devastation in their wake. "Morrison, can we intercept?" "Negative, ma'am. We're too far out, and we can't break off from the command ship without losing the quantum disruption." Effect, that's when something unprecedented happened. From the bio-cathedral ship, a new voice emerged. Not matriarch Valina, but something deeper, older, carrying the weight of eons. "Human captain, you have chosen to maintain your attack on the enemy command rather than chase the surface raiders. This choice honors the greater good of all young ones." "Ma'am," Dr. Wren said, his voice filled with awe, "I'm reading massive energy signatures from the maternal ships. They're opening something." The space around the fleeing harvester vessels suddenly filled with what looked like tears, in reality itself. From these ruptures emerged creatures that defied physics, massive biomechanical entities that moved through space like living torpedoes, each one easily the size of a cruiser. "Guardian mothers," Valina explained over the comm. "Kept in stasis until the greatest need. Your willingness to sacrifice your chance at glory for the protection of the young has awakened them." The Guardian mothers struck the harvester ground assault ships with devastating precision. In seconds, the threat to the planetary nurseries was eliminated. Simultaneously, the quantum disruption from the resilience finally overwhelmed the harvester command ship's defenses. "Command ship is losing power," Morrison reported. "Their fleet is in full retreat." As the last harvester vessel fled the system, Zara realized something had fundamentally changed. The ancient voice spoke again. "Captain Zara Hendricks of the E. Human vessel resilience. In 40,000 years, only 3 species have awakened the Guardian mothers through acts of selfless protection. Today, humanity becomes the 4th. Dr. Wren turned to face his captain, his expression one of wonder. "Captain, I don't think we just passed a test. I think we just became part of something much larger than ourselves." The maternal collective had found their newest protectors, and humanity had found guardians who would defend human children with the same ferocity they showed for their own. The Covenant of Guardians. 2 weeks after the Harvester battle, Captain Hendricks stood in the heart of the nurturing deep, surrounded by representatives from across the maternal collective. The chamber had been reconfigured into something resembling an amphitheater, with bioluminescent displays showing star maps, colony locations, and what appeared to be genetic data from dozens of species. Matriarch Valina approached, her living armor now displaying patterns that Dr. Wren had learned to interpret as deep respect. "Captain, the collective has reached a decision that has not been made in 3,000 years. We wish to extend the Covenant of Guardians to humanity." "What exactly does that entail?" Zara asked carefully. An elderly maternal being, introduced as Prime Mother Thessarian, gestured to the star maps. "The Covenant binds our species in mutual protection of all young life. Currently, 3 species share this bond: ourselves, the crystalline architects of the Veil Nebula, and the quantum phase shepherds of the Outer Rim." Dr. Wren stepped forward, his scientific curiosity overriding diplomatic protocol. "Prime Mother, if I may ask, what makes a species worthy of such a covenant?" Prime Mother Thessarian's response carried the weight of millennia. 3 criteria must be met. First, a species must demonstrate that the protection of young life supersedes personal survival. You achieved this when you chose to maintain your Attack on the Harvester command ship rather than pursue personal glory. The bioluminescent displays shifted to show images of human colonies, focusing on schools, hospitals, and childcare facilities. Second, a species must show innovation in nurturing and protecting the young, not merely their own offspring, but all young life they encounter. Your medical technologies, educational systems, and protective protocols demonstrate this. And the third criteria, Zara prompted, the willingness to sacrifice for the young of other species, even at great cost to oneself. The displays now showed footage from the recent battle, highlighting the moment when the Resilience chose to maintain the quantum disruption rather than break off to engage the surface raiders directly. Communications Officer Nakamura received an urgent message. Captain, we're getting a transmission from Earth. Admiral Chen wants to know our status and whether we need backup. Zara looked at the assembled maternal representatives. Prime Mother, if humanity accepts this covenant, what would be expected of us? Your species would become part of the collective's protection network. Human ships would be equipped with bio-neural communication systems, allowing coordination with maternal fleets. In return, no human child would ever be without protection, regardless of where in the galaxy they might be. Dr. Wren's eyes widened as he processed the implications. Captain, they're offering to share their biotechnology with us. The medical applications alone could eliminate childhood diseases across all human colonies. But Prime Mother Thessarian wasn't finished. There is more. The Covenant grants access to the Guardian Mother protocols. In times of greatest need, human ships could awaken these ancient protectors to defend any world where children are threatened. Matriarch Valina added, your ship's quantum resonance technology, combined with our bio-neural networks, could create defensive systems more powerful than either species could achieve alone. The Harvesters would never again threaten any world under our protection. Zara considered the magnitude of what was being offered. Humanity would no longer be alone in the galaxy, but they would also be bound by responsibilities that could span centuries. Prime Mother, I need to consult with Earth Command before making such a momentous decision. Of course, but know this, Captain Hendricks. The collective does not extend this offer lightly. We have observed your species for some time. Your children's laughter carries across the quantum foam just as ours does. They deserve the same protection we offer our own. As if summoned by her words, the chamber filled with a sound Zara hadn't expected. Children's voices, human children, singing in harmony with young maternal beings. The sound came from a nursery ship that had arrived in the system, carrying both human and maternal youngsters who had already begun forming friendships across species lines. The young ones have already chosen, Prime Mother Thessarian observed. Perhaps it is time their guardians did the same. Zara knew that her next decision would reshape humanity's place in the galaxy forever. Legacy of the Protected. 6 months after the signing of the Covenant of Guardians, Commander Diana Reeves stood on the observation deck of the UES Sanctuary, humanity's first bio-integrated ship. Through the living hull's transparent sections, she watched as Guardian Mothers patrolled the perimeter of New Geneva Colony, their massive forms moving with impossible grace through the void. Status report, Dr. Okafor, Diana requested from her science officer. All bio-neural networks are functioning at optimal levels, Commander. The maternal integration protocols have reduced our response time to distress calls by 73%. We can now coordinate with any collective vessel within a 50 light-year radius instantaneously. Beside her, Cultural Liaison Officer Marcus Chen reviewed data from his tablet. Commander, the integration statistics are remarkable. Human colonies with maternal biotech have seen a 96% reduction in childhood mortality rates. Educational development has accelerated. by 30% due to enhanced learning environments. Through the ship's bio-neural communication system, Diana felt the presence of matriarch Velina aboard the nurturing deep, now permanently stationed in the Sol system. The sensation was like having a wise grandmother's voice in the back of her mind, offering guidance and support. "Sanctuary, this is Earth Command," came Admiral Patricia Wells's voice over conventional comm channels. "We have a situation developing in the Tau Ceti system. Colony ship New Hope has reported contact with an unknown aggressive species. Colonist children are at risk." Diana's response was immediate. "Earth Command, we're already en route. The Collective detected the distress through quantum resonance 15 minutes ago. Guardian mothers are converging on Tau Ceti from 3 sectors." Dr. Okafor looked up from his instruments with amazement that still hadn't faded after months of working with maternal technology. "Commander, I'm reading biosignatures from the attacking vessels. They're not entirely organic. It looks like another species attempting to integrate stolen maternal biotech, similar to the Harvesters." "Then they're about to learn why that's a very bad idea," Diana replied grimly. As the sanctuary dropped into hyperspace, Diana reflected on how profoundly humanity had changed. The Covenant hadn't just provided protection, it had fundamentally altered human civilization. Children now grew up knowing that an entire galaxy watched over them. Parents could send their families to the furthest colonies with confidence that Guardian mothers would respond to any threat within hours. But the changes went deeper than protection. Human scientists working alongside maternal bioengineers had developed technologies that seemed like magic. Diseases that had plagued humanity for millennia were now prevented by biosymbiotic organisms that lived peacefully within human cells. Ships could heal themselves, habitats could adapt to environmental threats, and communication across the galaxy was as easy as thinking. The Sanctuary emerged from hyperspace to find a battle in progress. The colony ship New Hope was under attack by vessels that looked like corrupted versions of maternal bioships, their organic components clearly rejecting their synthetic control systems. "All stations, battle ready," Diana ordered. "Bioweapons to full integration. Let's show these pirates what happens when you threaten the Covenant's children." The Guardian mothers arrived like avenging angels, their ancient forms moving with purpose that had been refined over 40,000 years. But what followed wasn't just a battle. It was a demonstration of what the galaxy had become under the Covenant's protection. Human quantum resonance weapons disrupted the pirates' stolen biotech, while maternal energy fields protected the colony. Ship's civilian population. Ships from 3 different Covenant species arrived within hours, creating a protective barrier around the New Hope that would have been impossible before the Alliance. As the last pirate vessel was either destroyed or fled, Diana received a message that made her smile. It was from 8-year-old Tommy Chen aboard the New Hope, thanking the Space Guardians for protecting his family. The message was automatically translated and broadcast to every Covenant vessel in the system, carrying the pure gratitude of a child who knew he was safe. Matriarch Velina's presence touched Diana's mind. "This is why we fight, Commander. Not for territory or resources, but so that children like Tommy can grow up in a galaxy that values their laughter above all else." Diana looked out at the Guardian mothers as they resumed their patrol patterns, knowing that across the galaxy, similar scenes were playing out every day. Humanity had earned more than the trust of the galaxy's most dangerous mothers. They had become part of a family that spanned the stars, united by the simple principle that every child deserved protection. The Covenant of Guardians had created something unprecedented in galactic history, a civilization built not on conquest or commerce, but on the universal desire to see the young ones safe, happy, and free to explore the wonders of the universe.